So for the benefit of you that are newer to flow classes, it's a wee bit of a faster, more dynamic class once we start getting into it. So if you know that you like props, sometimes we just don't have time to use them as we go through the class and it turns into a bit of a faff. That doesn't mean don't have them. So if you've got a block or if you've been using a roll for the last little while, have that handy and lie down. Gosh. So not often do we start the class lying down, but it's particularly useful to start our warm-up for things in a wee bit of a different way. And especially if you're planning on spending the rest of the day pretty vertical, then this is a useful way to take the pressure off of your low back and the fronts of your hips. Once you're down, draw your shoulder blades down away from your ears. You will probably have to rock to the side a wee bit to pull them down so that you feel the shoulder blades don't just move back to where they were sitting. Tuck the chin a little to help lengthen through the back of the neck. Any discomfort in the low back, you might find having the feet flat is a better position and it might take the pressure off of any forward pull through your hips. Start to deepen your breath. Make a switch towards deliberate ujjayi breathing. So if you're new to that, ideally breathing in and out through the nose, engaging the throat muscles the same as you would when whispering, so there's an audible component to your breath. Any rigidity that you may have been trained to hold in your abdomen, let your abdomen move freely on the inhale and use the exhale to pull the belly muscles down without pressing the low back down. So if you know that you are pressing your low back flat, let that relax a little bit, almost trying to let the lumbar curve still be there and pretty much still be there for a lot of our poses today. As you move today, aim to work in a way that feels graceful. Now, as I translate grace, I don't want you to think that it's airy, fairy, and wispy. Grace is something almost more like a calculated finesse to use your strength and flexibility. So still acknowledging where you are strong rather than flopping about, but also not feeling so rigid in those places. So even from where you are, take the arms out to the side, moving steadily. Exhale, bring the knees into your chest without grabbing a hold of the legs. Take a little bit of a rocking side to side and use this to help walk your sacrum towards the front of the mat so the low back feels really long for laying down spinal twist. Exhale, send the knees over to the right. Knees are up close to that right arm. Don't worry if the left shoulder has come up from the mat. You're welcome to stay here. If it feels curious enough, you can go ahead and straighten that top leg and catch a hold of it with the right hand, holding the shin and thigh parallel to the floor rather than pulling the foot down, which will cause sometimes a wee bit of discomfort to the inside of the hip. If the left shoulder isn't very happy, maybe take the arm towards the back of the mat so it feels more like a side bend. Intermediates, if you're curious about getting into your quadriceps pretty much from the start, left hand reaches down past your left hip, grabs a hold of the right foot, and then starting to slide the right thigh bone towards the front of the mat. So you're creating this very twisty, split-like creature. I call this a ninja twist. It comes from like the acro realms. However you're holding the legs, release them. Inhale, bring the knees back up through center, moving steadily. Exhale, send both knees over to the left. Gradually work on perhaps straightening that right leg, holding it with the left hand, holding somewhat parallel to the floor. Some of you might be either working a different shoulder position with that right arm, with arm overhead, or reaching the arm down alongside your waist to take a hold of the foot to help navigate into the twist that way. If you feel like your pelvis is curling under, stick your butt out a wee bit here to change how the low back is feeling. Oh, pardon me. Switch deep breathing on in a way that starts to move into the abdomen, and hopefully not starting to elicit too many sneezes like mine is. Inhale, unravel the legs, bring the knees back through center. Set your feet flat to the floor, setting them about hip distance apart. Interlace the fingers behind your head and bring the elbows in close to the sides of your head. Without pressing your low back down, exhale, curl the head and shoulders up and feel for the shoulder blades themselves lifting from the mat. So you're getting that uppermost part of the abdominals towards the mid part of the abdominals really starting to engage. Maintain a steady breath while you do this. Now you might find this is enough stimulation for the abdominals just now. If it feels like a stronger day and the pelvis and low back position doesn't change, then work on straightening the legs towards the front of the mat, but working with a really open angle so far. So straight up is 12, we're kind of going for more of a 1 o'clock position. If the low back is able to stay stable, maybe you're moving towards more of a 2 o'clock. Happy to have it more as like a 1:30. If you're working with the feet down, that's still totally relevant. We're still engaging into the abdomen. Without pressing your low back down, exhale, draw the belly button down and stretch your rib cage towards the back of the mat, the action of elongating your spine. Take another deep breath. If you've got the legs straight, go ahead and bend the legs, set the feet down, set the head down. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears, palms face up. Exhale, press into your feet, curl tailbone up and lift your pelvis for bridge. In bridge, imagine there was something at the inner thighs and draw them towards each other, but without the knees passing past hip distance. So thinking of an isometric contraction rather than moving the thighs themselves. Adding in an additional wrist stretch. Take the hands overhead, but point the fingers towards your shoulders. Actively spread the fingers and try to press the base of your fingers down. If your palms are flat already, take the hands further away so you can actually stretch into your forearms. Do not do wheel. This is not wheel. With the shoulders still on the mat, inhale, telescope your ribs towards the back of the mat so you feel the breastbone moving towards the chin. Exhale, palms are pressing down towards the floor. Inhale, relax the arms down alongside your waist. Lower down through your shoulders, mid-back, low back, and then set your pelvis down. From this place, start to shimmy up onto your elbows. So not the most graceful of moves, but it also doesn't need to feel too lumbering. Aim to get elbows underneath the shoulders. Some of you might find if you grab the edges of your mat and try and pull your hands towards the front of the mat, it will create a really good stabilizer for you here. Take the legs straight up towards the ceiling. I like to have my chin relaxing forward, so notice the word relaxing rather than straining, but it's also not whipping back. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, so you feel like the shoulders are in more of a depressed position. Now you might be thinking like, oh, this doesn't feel so bad. Just you wait, sugar. We're not aiming for it to be bad, but we're looking to definitely get something happening. Inhale, send the legs towards the front of the mat, so however low really is based on whether the pelvis can stay in that same position. Without using a swing, exhale, bring the legs back up and squeeze the thighs close to your head. Inhale, send the legs forwards. Exhale, legs are lifting, thighs are coming in towards the ribs, ideally without flattening your low and mid back. Inhale, send the legs long. We're going to need this action later. Exhale, squeeze the legs in towards your chest. Inhale, reach them forwards. Exhale, bring them up. Thighs are squeezing towards the ribs. Inhale, forwards. Last one. Exhale, bring the legs up. They pass through center. Tailbone curls up. Thighs squeeze in. Inhale, take the legs forwards to about a 45 degree. Use your hands to assist in lifting yourself up. Now you can either use your hands to assist in creating that lift in the low back. Tight hamstrings, bending the legs will make a big difference. Stronger day, go for the arms free, shoulders away from the ears. So even though we're static, thinking about the aspect of being graceful, can you make a steady effort with your breath rather than it being this great hardship or gasping or even grunting? Can you smooth it out? Deep breath in. Exhale, cross the ankles, either pull them in tight and rock forwards to a tabletop, or if that doesn't work well, swing them around to the side, make your way to tabletop anyway. From all fours, push the floor away from you and scoop your chest forwards. Some of you might prefer to work this toes tucked or feet flat, really your preference. Inhale, lift the skull, lift the sit bones. So working through a few rounds of cat. Exhale, tuck tailbone down, round into the back and push with your hands. Inhale, scoop the ribs forwards, lift skull, lift sit bones. Exhale, tuck tailbone down, push into the hands, round into the back. Inhale, come back through center. Turn your fingers inwards, so middle fingers will point towards each other, and then try and turn them back so they point towards the opposite knee. Grip the floor with your fingertips, heel of the hand stays down, soften the elbows. Exhale, start to sit your hips back a little bit. Now, depending on the flexibility of the hips, the knees, the wrists, you might be able to lean back a little bit further, just play sensibly. So especially if it's early, you've kind of just like rolled out of bed and gotten onto the yoga mat, very different version of 9 to 5. See how this feels for the wrists. If your arms are super bent, just know that you're not really stretching anything. Go for it straight-ish and then lean back. Inhale, come forwards. Spin the palms back forwards and then get a feel for the thumb tips themselves lifting from the mat. Exhale, lift the heel of the hand up so you're on the base of the fingers. So the base of the finger knuckle region is down, fingers themselves are down. Inhale, super slowly lower the heel of the hands down. If that feels really hard, move back a wee bit so there's less weight over your hands. Inhale, lift heel of the hands. Exhale, slowly lower them. Okay, so we're going to continue with these, but think about your back position. Inhale, scoop your chest forward, stick your butt out. Exhale, get the shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale, lift that heel of the hand up. Exhale, super slowly lower the heel of the hands down. So you should start to feel those wrist flexors. Inhale, lift the heel of the hand. Exhale, start to lower them. All right, give your wrists a little bit of a roll out, so especially if you're not used to it, and prefer to get people really warming up the wrists in flow classes, because as we start to do things like half salutations and sun salutations, you do start to feel it. On that note, hands under shoulders, get the shoulders over your hands, and then step one leg back and then the other. So it is a different length to tabletop. So if you've done tabletop and lifted your knees, it's going to be really short. Definitely lengthen it back. Inhale, lift between your shoulders, scoop your chest forwards. Exhale, lift the right thigh so the heel is lifting just enough, legs stay straight. Everything's still in line. Now obviously if you're thinking, oh my god, this is really difficult, feel free to put your left knee down or play with this. Now some of you will stay here, some of you will go onto your left fingertips, but aiming that chest and pelvis stay completely level. Stronger day, reach the left arm forwards. Now obviously stronger day, it might not be right now. Inhale, set the hand down, set the foot down. How exciting. Deep breath in. Exhale, lift the left leg, drive the heel back, toes point down. Lift out of that left shoulder, maybe coming onto the right fingertips. Perhaps reaching the right arm forwards and feeling for a reaching action, but without lifting the right ribs or dropping the left hip. Can you stabilize it so everything feels pretty level? Inhale, set the hands down. Now listen up. Exhale, squeeze your left knee to your left upper arm. Step the left foot outside your left hand. So if you've done right foot, do left foot. It will make much more sense. Put your right knee down. Use your arms to effect a bit of a pulling action and scoop the rib cage forwards. Exhale, strongly tuck your tailbone down. So instead of the butt not doing anything, it's working pretty actively. You are welcome to stay here or start to walk the arms forwards, perhaps setting the elbows down. If possible, both elbows are coming down, but chest is staying in that scooping forwards position rather than moving into immensely flexed postures. So a good thing for those of you that are newer to me, anytime you think I'll flop, don't flop. Anytime you think I'll excessively round my back so that I can lick my own knee, dinna do it. Dinna do it. I think people are already pretty good at rounding their upper backs rather than having to practice that excessively. And from where you are, that left foot, hopefully it's your left foot that's forward, Turn it out 45 degrees. Now you can stay on the elbows with this, those of you that wear it down there. All we've done is rotate the thigh out a wee bit. If you're on the hands, you're welcome to stay there as well. The rotation may assist you in getting a little bit more depth. We shall see. Wherever you are, exhale, bend the right leg so the sole of the foot is going towards the ceiling. Any discomfort in the knee, just give that a little bit of a wriggle side to side. It might help release some of the tissue that's getting a wee bit stuck. You can stay as you are, or twist, taking the left hand back to grab a hold of that foot, maybe holding this down on the elbow. You do not need to necessarily get a hold of the foot. Wherever you are, inhale, turn the left ribs open. If you do have the foot, or it doesn't feel very comfortable, you can have the left arm up. If you are able to get a hold of the foot, then keep a hold of it. The next lunge is a strange creature. Inhale, set your hands down. I think that was a good preface. Hands come under the shoulders, tuck the right toes. Pivot onto the pinky edge of your right foot and take the right hand a little further forward so it's not directly under the shoulder. Turn your left foot to the left 90 degrees and pivot your chest and your hips towards your left thigh. So this should feel like side plank with an additional aspect. Left foot is flat. Right foot, you're on the pinky edge and working with a really strongly flexed foot. More comfortable day, maybe the left arm is lifting. Deep breath in. Left foot stays where it is. Endeavor that it doesn't slide. Exhale, lower your right hip down. So we're creating this side bend feel. You might need to use your left hand to brace the left foot so it doesn't slide towards the back of your mat, which it might try and do. Aim to open the left thigh to the left, as if the thighs could touch one another in that range. So instead of the knee pointing up, can you open it out to the left? The answer might be not yet. Inhale, take your left hand back to the front of the mat, turn the left foot forwards and get onto the right toes and listen up. Start to walk your hands back, straightening the left leg and then sit towards your left sit bone. You can either work with the right foot flat as if you were doing half of a yogi squat, or work with the foot to the inner thigh. If you are working with the foot flat, aim that the knee is wider than the hip rather than collapsed inwards, potentially even collapsing on the ankle. If you're doing this version, left hand holds right ankle, right arm comes up and over into the side bend. If you're working with the foot at the thigh, take your left hand to the right knee to create this rotation and bring the right arm overhead to create the side bend. Low back sensitive, you might appreciate having the arm to the inside of the leg to create more of a support for that left side. So you're choosing what will work. Bear in mind, this is all part of the preamble. We haven't stood up yet, so your end range flexibility is not going to be available unless it always is. All right, have a look towards that left foot. Inhale, shift back forwards. Hands come down to the inside of the leg. Step back into plank. Inhale, push the floor away, scoop chest forwards. Exhale, squeeze right knee to right upper arm, and then step the foot outside of the hand. Set the left knee down. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards. If the right thigh is already swinging out to the side, squeeze it back in. We're not quite ready for that yet. Inhale, telescope the ribs forwards. Exhale, perhaps starting to bring the arms down. The only way they'll go down is if the arms go forwards first to then lower. If you're trying to lower them, all that's going to happen is that big flexing in the back. So perhaps arms are going forwards to lower down. Pelvis stays as level as it can be. Gently squeeze the right thigh in. Now you might be thinking, oh my goodness, how do I practice gracefulness here? Every transition, every movement you make, every change of hand and foot can either be done clunkily, as if you assume you're going to get a replacement set, or done with the consideration that these are going to be yours to work with for the rest of time. It starts to sound more like a curse, doesn't it? Right, turn your right foot out. So maybe this is what they mean by a family curse. So right foot is turned out about 45 degrees. Allow the right thigh to wing out, but without going onto the pinky edge. Aiming that this is active as if you're trying to get the knees towards the floor in Baddha Konasana. Those buttock muscles on that right hip should feel like they fire up. Some of you are on your elbows, you're welcome to stay there. Some of you who weren't on the elbows may find by the time you've been here and the act of opening the hip, maybe it's available. It's worth looking at. Now either stay here or you can bend that back leg. Sometimes it's useful to kind of take a wee inward and outward rotation on that thigh to unhook anything that's pulling around the knee. You can stay here or reaching the right arm up, turning the chest, or reaching back to catch a hold of the foot. So feeling for the stage that works best. This can be done on the left elbow or on the left hand, whichever one gives you a better reach. I almost said a better reach around it, I thought better of it and then said it anyway. Inhale, scoop your chest towards the front of the mat. Exhale, roll the chest open. So there is a twisting position in this creature. The lunge that nobody likes. Inhale, set the hands down, tuck your left toes, turn the right foot out 90 degrees, flip onto the pinky edge of your left foot, and then move the left hand so it's in front of the line of the shoulder. Turn the chest and the pelvis to the right, but drive the left thigh bone up as the right arm lifts. You might find hand on thigh helps you create that rotation towards the side. If your left knee is even slightly bent, it's causing really weird movements through that lower leg. Drive the leg straight. It should feel positively buttocky in that right side. Deep breath in. Exhale, start to lower the hip down. So left hip is coming down towards the floor. If this right foot is slipping, put the hand to stop it from doing so and start to do that same wing action of opening the right hip up so the thighs move towards each other. So still rotation, maybe moving onto the pinky edge of the foot. Maybe the knees get really close to each other. They can start to get there. It takes ages, just FYI. So pigeon, for example, is still like an apex hip opener. Oh, it is only the scraping the very surface of hip opening is pigeon. We haven't even done one yet. Don't even need to, done so much. Inhale, walk your hands back around. Right foot points forwards. Start to walk your hands back and then sit towards your right sit bone. Either left foot flat with the knee wide or bring the foot to your inner thigh, so whichever one feels more approachable. If the foot is at the thigh, right hand holds the left knee, left arm is coming up and over, or use the right arm to the inside of the leg. If you're working with the foot flat like a half yogi squat, get a really good grip of the ankle so you can pull using the right arm, left arm is coming over. If you're doing the ones that have the right arm assisting, it's pulling to bring the right ribs closer to that left side of the mat to assist with the rotation for the side bend. Inhale, bring yourself up, have a wee look to the front of your mat. Inhale, saunter back forwards, step back into plank. Inhale, push the floor away, scoop chest forwards, downward facing dog. Exhale, well, first time here, it's been a while. Inhale, look towards the front of your mat, start to walk the feet forwards so the feet end up about hip distance apart. Bend the legs so that ribs and thighs are resting against each other. Hands come behind the knees, either hold the hands, the wrists. Some of you might be able to brace the forearms or the elbows, but feet are still hip distance apart. Pull so that the ribs and thighs are in contact. Keep the clasp. Inhale, half lift. Scoop your chest forwards, but keep that brace on the legs. If the lift is happening only through the back of the neck, create it through the upper section of your back rather than your neck. Forward bend. Exhale, use your abdominals to help fold in perhaps a wee bit deeper. Point your sit bones up towards the ceiling. Bring the weight towards your heels. Inhale, release the arms. Push through your feet, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands come together at chest. Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, reach up. Forward bend. Exhale, abdomen is pulling to draw the chest closer to the thighs. Half lift. Inhale, articulate the chest forwards. Chaturanga, step the feet back, grip the floor, bend elbows without dropping the head or the shoulders. Cobra, inhale, lift chest, press down through the feet. Shoulder blades, instead of rolling forwards, roll them back and down and lift the skull. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Have a little look to the front of the hands. Inhale, step, or maybe it's a hop, feet to the front of the mat into that half lift. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands together at chest. Inhale, reach up, lift ribs up. Forward bend. Exhale. Half lift. Inhale, lengthen the ribs towards the front of the mat. Chaturanga. Exhale, step or hop the feet back. Bend elbows. Cobra. Inhale, lift the chest, shoulders away from the ears, power down through the feet. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees. Half lift. Inhale, step or hop feet to hands, feet are hip distance. Now pause. In this half lift, bend the legs significantly so ribs and thighs can really rest against each other. Take the index and middle fingers around the big toes, palms face each other. Press down through the base of the big toe. Inhale, lengthen the ribs forwards into that half lift. Forward bend. Exhale, bend the elbows to assist in drawing the chest towards the thighs and the skull towards the mat. Endeavour that the wrists themselves are pretty relaxed, and it's the upper arms and the upper back that are doing the pulling action. If you're trying to get your head to your knees, aim for your ankles rather than your knees. Half lift. Keep a hold of the feet. Inhale, scoop your chest forwards. Almost go until you feel the arms are being pulled completely taut. Stick your butt out. Forward bend. Exhale, relax the arms down. Hands come out of that grip. Chair. Bend the legs. Inhale, reach the arms forwards, palms face each other. Airplane arms. Exhale, sweep the arms back, palms face down, chest potentially pitches forwards an extra little bit, thighs parallel. Inhale, bring the arms down to sweep them forwards and see if it gives you a little bit of extra lift into the upper back. Forward bend. Exhale, moving into Surya Namaskar B, so similar to A. Half lift. Inhale, scoop the ribs forwards. Chaturanga. Exhale, step or hop back, bend elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog. If you're doing that, thighs are lifting from the mat. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the knees up. Inhale, lift the left leg high, left toes point down. It should feel quite reminiscent of some of the posturing earlier. Stay in the pose. Exhale, spin the elbow tips so they're pointing more towards the mat than outwards. High lunge. Exhale, step the left foot through between your hands. Feet are tracking about hip distance. Inhale, bring yourself up. Strongly tuck your tailbone down. Deep breath in. Airplane arms. Exhale, sweep the arms back. Chest is coming down towards the thighs. Put your ribs on your left leg. Get the left knee stacked above the heel so it's a pretty resolute 90-degree bend. Without changing the depth in the legs, lift the ribs off of your thigh. Inhale, come back up into that high lunge. Warrior two. Set the right heel down, open to the right, shoulders relax down away from the ears. Front leg doesn't change the position during today's Surya Namaskar B. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift the left arm up, lift left ribs away from pelvis, creating that side bend. Chaturanga. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, either pike up, rolling over the toes, or step them so it's less arduous for the feet. Inhale, lift the right leg high, toes point down, hips level. So instead of winging that hip open, see if you can square that off a wee bit. High lunge. Exhale, right knee is coming in, step the foot through the hands. Inhale, bring yourself up. Airplane arms. Exhale, sweep the arms back, palms face down. Chest pitches forwards and bend significantly into that right leg. If the thigh is up, you're going to tell yourself that the chest is on your legs really high. Bring it down so your chest is almost parallel to the floor. Stabilize the legs and then hover the rib cage from the thighs. So starting to develop the muscles either side of your spine to help with that lift. Inhale, bring the arms up, lift chest. Warrior two. Exhale, set the back heel down, open to the left. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift the right arm, creating that side bend from the right side waist down to the pelvis. Chaturanga. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Half lift. Inhale, step or hop, feet to hands, scoop chest forwards, forward bend. Exhale. Chair. Inhale, bend the legs, reach the arms forwards. Airplane arms. Exhale, sweep them back. Do this without dropping your head. Inhale, arms come down to come forwards, lifting the chest up a wee bit. Forward bend. Exhale. Half lift. Inhale, lengthen the ribs forwards. Chaturanga. Exhale, step or hop back, bend elbows. Cobra or upward facing dog. Inhale, lift chest, don't forget to lift your skull. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, lift the left leg high. High lunge. Exhale, left foot comes through. Inhale, bring your arms up. And this time, exhale, take both hands down to the inside of your left leg. So you can be on fingertips, maybe onto palms. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend the elbows, folding down closer to that left ankle. Inhale, push off of the hands, push off of the leg, come all the way back up into that high lunge. Warrior two. Exhale. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift up through the left arm. Chaturanga. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows. If these half salutations are becoming onerous, then feel free to meet us in down dog or another pose. Downward facing dog. Exhale, lift hips. Inhale, reach the right leg skywards. High lunge. Exhale, right foot comes through. Inhale, come on up. With a little bit of grace rather than a collapse, exhale, bring the arms down to the inside of the leg. You can use the friction of your arm and your ribs against your right thigh to slow down that descent. Either fingertips or hands down. Exhale, bend the elbows. If you're doing an additional chin tuck here, lengthen forwards more than you are rounding. Inhale, push off of that right foot. Inhale, come up, so a wee bit sugary. Warrior two. Exhale, open out to the left. Reverse warrior. Inhale, reach the right arm up and back. Chaturanga. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows. Cobra or up dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, lift the left leg high, we build. High lunge. Exhale. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, clasp the hands at your low back. Bend the elbows. So a lot of times you'll see people teaching this like straight arm version. Bend the elbows. Thumbs are resting ideally towards your lower back. Inhale, lift shoulders up, squeeze them back. Exhale, work your arms straighter. Do not straighten nor lock the elbows. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold your chest onto your thigh or bow to the inside of the left leg. That right heel is still lifted, so there is a challenge to your stability here. Hands are pulling away from the hips, but without the elbows locking or the palms opening. Put the hands on your low back. Inhale, sweep the arms forwards and up. Warrior two. Exhale, open out to the side. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift that left arm up. Chaturanga, remember you can meet us in down dog instead of doing this mini series. Cobra or up dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Inhale, lift the right leg high. High lunge. Exhale. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, clasp the hands at your back, but do the clasp you don't normally do. So whatever one you do, then down one notch. Slide the thumbs up. Inhale, bring your shoulder blades up, squeeze them back, squeeze the elbows towards each other. Exhale, work on gradually extending the arms and then fold forwards, either resting the chest onto the leg or bringing the chest down a little bit more to the inside of the leg as the arms start to come over. Do not straighten the arms. Now, can they straighten? Yes, but try not to. I'm not interested in hypermobile expressions of the elbow here to get some sort of depth for your brain. Inhale, put the hands back on the low back. Bring the arms all the way up. Warrior 2. Exhale, open out to the side. Reverse warrior. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Chaturanga. Exhale, set the hands down, step back, bend elbows. Cobra or upward dog. Inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Have a look at your hands. Step your left foot forwards, but towards the right side of your mat, so only about a foot forwards. Turn the toes out. Step your right foot behind it, so your toes or your ankles are crossed. Now this is going to be dainty, graceful, stunning. Start to walk forwards, but bend your legs. So making yourself into teeny tiny, compact, ankle crossed human. Now wait, some of you already spoiled the surprise. Hands are flat. Walk your feet through in the cross-legged without lifting your hands up. I know it works well. It's really hard work, really hard work. Okay, straighten your legs forwards. If you're new to working poses of this ilk, I would say left leg crossed in is going to be plenty to be dealing with. Intermediates, there are 2 builds based on how your knees are. Some of you might find foot crossed over the thigh is enough because it will speak to your hip but not so much your knee. Some of you might find that half lotus is a thing that will work well. You don't know where you're going yet, so maybe you're not making the decision fully yet. If you've got the foot, well, actually wherever you are, bend the right knee in and hold on to that thigh. So whether the foot is on the floor, in that crossover, or on your thigh, bring the foot off the floor and gradually work on straightening that leg. So it might be that this is how straight it's gone. If it is straight and over here, I'm more interested in the thigh to chest being close and that gradual expansion of the leg, perhaps starting to reach the hands elsewhere. My lotusy people, it is the same creature, it's just a little bit tighter because your leg is in the way. Your aim is to feel for that lift while lifting the chest up, even if it's that ankle crossover creature. Now, does this pose carry a falling risk? Yes. So if you feel like that is immensely prevalent, use your hand behind you to lift your chest up. If you're using this for Instagram, you can just Photoshop that arm out. Which I know happens. There's this thing that happened like on Instagram a wee while ago where people were buying these like transparent glass cubes and doing poses on them and kind of blurring out the glass box so it looked like they were flying like in like a side plank. Witchcraft lies. All right, change sides. So when you look at Instagram, do consider, is this lies? Either have the foot to the inner thigh, which means it's going to be the left leg coming in and extending. Maybe it's a half lotus day, maybe it's the ankle crossover thigh back release day. Wherever you are, get the left thigh coming in close to your chest and then gradually work on straightening the leg. So it's particularly challenging. It's a lot of quadricep. You might feel like the hamstrings are really starting to pull as well. Use that left hand behind you to get a bit of support with that. Wherever you are, go ahead and bend that left leg. Set the feet down so your legs are about a 90-degree bend. Take the feet mat distance and then turn the feet out about 45 degrees so the knees are open. So it kind of feels more like horse. Instead of pulling your butt cheeks out the way, which is a very strange gesture, pick your butt up and put your butt back down. Whatever you needed to happen just happened. Use your fingertips behind you. Inhale, lift your chest up and sit tall. Use your butt muscles to actively widen the knees and sit up here. So this is already going to be acting as a forward bend action for your hips. Some of you might be coming forwards a little bit. You can create a significant amount of forward movement using your arms without the need to take your arms forwards. However, some of you, hands coming forwards won't come at a cost. So if you feel like the arms can go forwards without instantly going into a slump, take the arms forwards and pull with them to help draw your chest forwards, with the eventual aim of elbows and feet merging to become one. It does not need to happen right now. But think if what you were doing in that lunge with the foot turned out and coming down to the elbows, it's the same kind of movement base. It just requires a lot more of that. All right, inhale, bring yourself up. Now, it's mostly because I adore these at the end of a class. Maintaining this leg position, it's basically dead bug. Hold on to your big toes. If you know that your ankles sickle in any given situation, hold the outside edge of your feet. It's going to be less likely to happen. Shimmy the legs in a wee bit until you can start to feel for the balance point and send the soles of the feet forwards. Right, so we're now balancing. Have you stopped breathing as a survival strategy? It's a strange one. Shoulders are down, lift your chest up. Use your lats by pulling the upper arms down and then pulling with the arms. You'll feel your back muscles fire up. Now you might be staying in dead bug thinking this pose just exudes dignity at the most high level. Maybe starting to work the legs straighter towards straddle and seeing if you can line up your toes with your shoulders. Sometimes it's nice just to hear these things and go, I have no idea why anybody would want that in their lives. All right, inhale, release the legs. Send your legs forwards. Shimmy so that your feet are nearer to the front of your mat so you don't hit your head on the way back. Feet tracking parallel, so for future reference, anytime I'm getting you doing seated poses or anything like that, it's usually always parallel rather than together. It's less problematic. Arms forwards, palms up. Inhale, lift up towards that Dandasana so you're up on your sit bones. Exhale, curl the pelvis under, but lift the rib cage up. So we've got that little bit of a tuck happening in the pelvis, so lower abdominals are engaging. Start to lean back so you feel like you get onto the flat of the sacrum, so right where the spine and pelvis are meeting. Then start to move towards the low back, then the mid back, stay, then the shoulders. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, stretching from fingers to toes. Exhale, bring the knees in towards your chest. Now you can either have the knees wide and rock side to side. Some of you might appreciate the compression of knees together. So feel which one feels more beneficial. And then set the feet down for Shavasana, final relaxation pose. So you might be working feet flat if that's how you started. Maybe working with the legs straight, or if you prefer, especially after forward bending, which it has been, then you may prefer to lay on your abdomen to get the best support for your back. Choose a position where you can comfortably take rest. begin to deepen your breath. As you get your breath more expansive, let it move your abdomen and your chest, breathing in a way that sets you up for the rest of the day ahead. And getting a feel in yourself and in your practice for the private victories that you get to have on the mat and carry with you for the rest of the day. The challenges have been met and overcome already. Take some movement into fingers and toes, including wrists in that. And then bend your legs, setting your feet to the floor. If it's better to bring knees into chest, feel free to work that same compression. Roll to your left, and then use your arms to bring yourself up towards seated where you are. Choose a comfortable seated position. We've not spent a great amount of time seated today, so maybe it's kneeling, maybe it's cross-legged. Bring your hands together at chest. Take a very deep breath in. Exhale, bow forwards. Namaste.